Today, I'm going to be ranking every WWE 2025 main event superstar. I'm going to be ranking these superstars on 3 criteria: star power, match quality, and promo quality. So let's get straight to ranking these superstars. Coming in first, we have the EST of the WWE, Bianca Belair. Someone who's definitely a lot less of a main eventer than the rest of these people on the list. But hey, she main evented WrestleMania Night 1, so that does officially count in my books. With regards to how she fares as a main event superstar, first off, star power. I'm gonna put her in C tier, honestly, for star power. I think against some of the superstars I'm seeing, she has absolutely no star power compared to these names. In terms of match quality, I do enjoy a good Bianca Belair match. I'm gonna put that in A tier for match quality. And then finally, for promo quality, they're decent, but nothing that stands out to me personally. I'm gonna put her promos in B tier, and I think overall that puts Bianca Belair in the B tier as our first main eventer. Now on to the man himself, quarterback one, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. A lot of people say he's been carrying the main events for the whole of 2025 and maybe the end of 2024. Would I agree? I am not entirely sure. Now, Cody Rhodes is great. I love Cody Rhodes, but I feel like there's still a lot of main event superstars that top Cody Rhodes in a lot of different categories. But we will start off with star power. I think Cody Rhodes is a bit overrated in star power. Now, if you're fairing him against Roman Reigns, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, all of these men have so much more box office draw than Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. And for that reason, I'm going to put him in B tier for star power. Now for match quality, I feel like all of his matches are a bit samey, although we can appreciate Cody Rhodes' main events are bangers every single time. This man puts on very long matches, but they are very, very good quality consistently. I'm going to put that in A tier for matches. And finally, promo quality. Hey, Cody Rhodes cuts an S tier promo. I've got to give it to him. So for that reason, I'm going to put Cody Rhodes in the A tier for main eventers. Now on to the man himself, the big dog, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns we are talking about right now. He arguably is one of the best draws the WWE have ever made. And I think it's very impressive how they have taken someone with such little star power and such little babyface draw to now being arguably the biggest draw in the entire company. So let's go through the 3 criteria for Roman Reigns. First of all, we have star power. Now, I have to put Roman Reigns in S tier for star power. I think he might be the biggest self-made name. Well, we can't say self-made. That's a bit of an overstatement. But I think he is the biggest name in the company right now who isn't like a legend or a nostalgia act, like we can say about John Cena, like we can say about Randy Orton, like we can say about Brock Lesnar. So in terms of match quality, I don't think he's quite an S tier superstar in terms of match quality, but certainly an A tier match superstar. I think you can't really go wrong with a Roman Reigns match. And then finally, promo. Not quite an S tier promo cutter yet. I feel like we don't really get the emotion and authenticity in his promos like some of the other superstars. However, still absolutely an A tier promo superstar. Put Roman Reigns in the S tier of main eventers. On to Mr. Money in the Bank. However, he is no longer Mr. Money in the Bank. He is the new World Heavyweight Champion, and that is none other than Seth freaking Rollins, yet again with the cash in of the century. Let's talk about Seth Rollins as a main event superstar. And first of all, we will talk about star power. Again, absolute star power from Seth Rollins. However, I will say I'm not quite sure he is in the league with the likes of Randy Orton, John Cena, Brock Lesnar. I think he's almost there, but maybe just a step underneath those superstars. So with that being said, I'm going to put Seth Rollins in A tier for star power. Now on to match quality. I think Seth Rollins puts banger after banger after banger match on at every main event he has. That is an S tier match quality superstar right there. And then finally, we have promo quality. Now, Seth Rollins, whether he's solo, whether he's part of a faction, he is so captivating in the way he speaks. His promos always carry such purpose, and I feel like he's not someone who just speaks for the sake of speaking. I feel like if you pick any Seth Rollins promo, it always has some major purpose in a storyline, and he's always able to carry so much weight and force and emotion in each of his promos. And for that reason, I'm going to put Seth in S tier promos, which means I have no choice but to put Seth Rollins in the S tier for main event superstars. Now on to a very, very controversial one. We have main event Yeet Jey Uso. First of all, let's talk about star power. Now we're talking about a superstar who prior to 2024 had basically no star power besides being the right hand man to Roman Reigns. Fast forward a year, fast forward 2 years, arguably one of the bigger draws in the company, the most over babyface without a shadow of a doubt and an absolute banger main eventer. I've got to give it to him. If we're going purely off star power, I'm going to go B tier purely for the fact that Jey Uso is not quite established yet to be a top star power box office draw alone. However, I think he very well is en route to getting there, and I think if he keeps this alliance with Roman Reigns, he will be one of the most star power superstars of all time, and you can mark my words right now. In terms of match quality, again, I know so many people say he's a one-trick pony. You know, we're talking just pure super kicks, spear, frog splash, and that is it. However, I like that, and I think that is Jey Uso's signature style. I think even though he has a very limited arsenal of moves, I think he really makes it work against whatever opponent he has, and I enjoy every single Jey Uso match that I watch. For that reason, I'm gonna put Jey Uso in A tier for match quality. Finally, we have promo quality. Again, a very controversial topic because some people say he doesn't really know how to cut a good promo yet. I beg to differ. I think any promo he cuts, even if it's not as crazy, like emotional and deep as like a John Cena promo, I think a Jey Uso promo is very, very underrated. And I think whenever he does a promo, the crowd absolutely gets behind it. And at the end of the day, I think that is a major part to what makes a good promo. For that reason, I'm going to put Jey Uso in the A tier for promos, which means that leaves me no choice but to put Jey Uso in the A tier for main event superstars. Now on to the man of the hour, John Cena. There's not really many bad things you can say about John Cena. We are talking about the man who put WWE on the map in the modern era. We're talking about the man who changed what mainstream WWE meant. We are talking about someone who, no matter what year you were born, you know of John Cena, you know he is the man. And for that reason, star power alone, S tier. Match quality is definitely between A and S tier, because again, we have a bit of a one-trick pony in John Cena. You know what you're getting in a John Cena match. We're getting the same moves, we're getting the same sequences. We kind of know how the match is going to play out across the match. But again, I feel like that's what makes a John Cena match so special. With that being said, I'm going to put match quality at A for John Cena. And finally, promos. This is John Cena we're talking about. S tier promos, S tier main event superstar in John Cena. There's not much more to be said on the man. Now on to the Ring General Gunther. I have strong opinions on Gunther, but we're gonna start like we always do with star power. I think we have our first, hey, let me quickly change this tier. I think we have our first ride back for star power. Now this is not talking about Gunther as a superstar, like as an all-round superstar, but if we are talking about pure star power, if I was to tell you now, okay, a pay-per-view is coming to a town near you, the tickets cost £1,000 for a mid ticket, and in the main event, all we can confirm right now is we have Gunther. I don't think you're going to be particularly interested in buying that ticket. If I were to, however, say in the main event we're getting John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, you're buying that ticket without thinking. But if I'm saying Gunther is in the main event, I don't think you really care for it. So for that reason, I have to put Gunther in the Ryback tier for main event status. Now for match quality. A lot of people argue that Gunther's style of match is just like brutal, hard hitting, like real wrestling. But me personally, I actually do find that a little bit boring and repetitive. I feel like there's not really much excitement to Gunther's matches. And again, maybe that's what he's going for. First of all, his matches are very slow. We get some chops, we get a submission, we get the powerbomb, and we're done. It's fine. It's not, I get very bored easily with Gunther's matches. And it's not to say that like a lot of flips and high flying is what makes a good match, but I feel like Gunther's matches are just not compelling to me. And for that reason, I'm going to put his matches in B tier. Finally, in terms of promos, we have a man whose English is not great, and I'm very aware like level of English doesn't mean good promos, but I'm going to factor that in first of all. I will give credit where credit is due. Gunther can cut a good promo. There's no doubt about it. However, we just get a lot of, you know, you don't respect the ring, you don't respect this business. B tier promos from Gunther. I'm just not really compelled to the promos that Gunther cuts. I feel like they're all very samey. They feel like he's reading from the script, and it doesn't really feel from the heart. So I'm going to put Gunther in the C tier. On to CM Punk, another man who I might get a lot of hate for my opinions on CM Punk, but I'm going to say them right now regardless. First of all, star power. We have a man with a lot of star power. However, he is not up there in the ranks with the top people, in my opinion. Maybe if he stuck around from the 2010s and really built his name up in the WWE, I think he might be in that conversation for like a top box office superstar. But right now, I just don't think we have that with CM Punk. I still think he's in the B or A tier, but but just not quite an S tier box office draw right now. For star power, I'm gonna give CM Punk a low A tier. Now onto match quality, and I kind of feel the same way about CM Punk as I feel about Gunther. I'm not really compelled to their matches as much. However, I think CM Punk absolutely puts on better matches than Gunther. With that being said, very, very long matches, but CM Punk does have like very high emotion matches, and I think that's what separates a CM Punk match from the rest of the people on this list. Like CM Punk, we're getting blood, we're getting emotion, we're getting grit. I mean, think back to Drew McIntyre CM Punk, Gunther CM Punk, John Cena CM Punk. Like, these are high emotion matches, and I'm gonna put a CM Punk match in the A tier. And finally, onto promo skills, we have someone who is unrivaled on the mic in CM Punk, and that is an immediate S tier promo superstar. And with all of those factors weighed up, we have a low A tier superstar in CM Punk. Onto Eio Sky, another woman who main evented Evolution, main evented night 1 of WrestleMania 2025. Let's go into star power first. I don't think Eio Sky particularly carries much star power amongst these names. Honestly, I'm gonna put her in Ryback tier. And don't get me wrong, I love Eio Sky here, but if we're talking about Eio Sky being front and center on a pay-per-view poster, being at the top of a match card consistently, I just really don't think she has the star power to be enough of a draw for those sort of positions. In terms of match quality, give me S tier for Eio Sky. She really is called the genius of the sky for a reason, and that woman puts her body on the line in each match. Crazy spots, crazy matches, S tier matches. And finally, on the mic, we have a woman who, you know, English is absolutely not her strong point, and I think we're all aware of that. But with that being said, she still gets so much crowd reaction despite such broken English. Bearing that in mind though, I am gonna put Eio Sky in the B tier for promo skills, and with everything weighed up, I am putting Eio Sky at the bottom of the A tier for main event superstars. Now onto someone who you might not class as a main event superstar, but from the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, he's kind of weaved his way into like Survivor Series main event, Bad Blood main event, SummerSlam main event. Like he's randomly appearing in these main events. Mainly these are all bloodline feuds, so I will factor that in. I think outside of bloodline feuds, I don't think Solo Sikoa really carries any power whatsoever. I feel like his main power right now is just purely in bloodline stories. But if you take Solo Sikoa out of the bloodline, put him against John Cena, put him against Seth Rollins, I really don't think he carries any weight whatsoever. In terms of star power, we're talking about a Ryback tier star power. Really doesn't carry any solo star power outside of the bloodline. In terms of match quality, again, outside of like the bloodline interference, not really any compelling matches, nothing particularly compelling in the ring, and for that reason I'm going to put him in C tier for his matches. And then finally, promo skills. He is slightly improving whilst he's leaning into this more comedic character. However, I still think he is C tier on the mic, and with all of this weighed up, we have a C tier superstar in Solo Sikoa. Now onto a man who is no stranger to a main event, been main eventing since 02. We have the legend killer Randy Orton, maybe one of the best main eventers of all time. In terms of star power, S tier, S tier. I don't think there's anyone on the planet who does not know of Randy Orton. In terms of match quality, I think we're talking very, very high A tier. This man knows how to put on a good match, and is just so consistent in his match quality throughout the years. Finally, in terms of mic skills, promo skills, I think we're talking high A tier. Not quite in the S tier with your CM Punks, with your John Cenas, but very much an A tier superstar in terms of promos. We're gonna go low S tier for Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton is undeniably one of the greatest main eventers of all time, and that is very unlikely to be topped anytime soon. And finally, for our WWE 2025 main eventers, we have Mommy Rhea Ripley, one of the 3 women who have officially made this list after their main event at WrestleMania 41. Now, in terms of star power, I think she absolutely trumps the other 2 women on this list. We're talking a high A tier, low S tier. You know what? I'm gonna go for A tier star power for Rhea Ripley. I think they are building up one of the most box office star power women of all time, and honestly, I don't think there's any women right now on the roster that can top the star power of Rhea Ripley. In terms of match quality, I think Rhea Ripley consistently manages to produce absolutely amazing matches. Recently, she has been going back and forth basically every pay-per-view with Eio Sky, but they do still manage to put on 10 out of 10 matches each and every time. For that reason, I'm going to put Rhea Ripley in A tier for match quality. quality. And then finally for promo skills, I'm gonna put Rhea Ripley in the low A tier. I just really don't think there's much you can critique Rhea Ripley on right now. I think she's on the run of a lifetime, and I think she's gonna go on to main event a lot more pay-per-views. This is a high A tier superstar we are talking about in Rhea Ripley. Anyway, that is every WWE main event superstar in 2025. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these rankings in the comments below. However, before I wrap up this video, I am gonna select who I think is the greatest main eventer of 2025, and it is a very tricky decision. As you can see, we have 4 incredible superstars in the S tier. However, I'm gonna have to go with maybe the biggest draw of the 2020s, someone who has had the greatest rivalries consistently for the past 5 years, and that is none other than the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and make sure to subscribe, as I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And until next video, peace.